think we're successful because we telling it like it is, and you know, that's what people want to hear.
Gangsta Gangsta was a big hit. Fuck the Police was a big hit.
It's not what you know, it's what you can prove.
When I went and got N.W.A. albums, I bought them as a fan.
Suge Knight was always around. He was around in the days of N.W.A. I never noticed who he was.
Suge Knight was a bodyguard. Being a bodyguard is probably one of the best music schools, music industry schools that you could go to, because you're gonna learn everything about the business.
I was out there looking and learning, you know. I hear people talk about songs, and I'm just listening, I'm hearing it all.
Now, when it starts making real money, and it starts looking like some success is gonna come about, that's when the shit starts.
Eazy and Jerry wasn't paying Dr. Dre enough money.
At that time, I was owed money, but they wasn't paying it, you know what I'm saying? I think they were trying to starve me out. As hard as you work for your money, there's at least 2 or 3 people out there working just as hard to get it from you.
I was there when Dre told me he would sell his soul to the devil for $1 million. And I swear right now, devil got to have a receipt for his ass.
The development of Dr. Dre within Ruthless, that's what Suge Knight sizes up and decides that he's going to take. He's going to rip the guts out of Ruthless Records, which is what he did.
I make money off him for the next 6 years and everything that he touches. So I hope the Chronic blow up, so, you know, I could buy me a new home or something, you know.
I talk to Eazy all the time. I did my record about him, he did his record about me. It's all business, it's all entertainment, period.
I thought it was gangster. Hell, it was like the movies.
I guess they took advantage of me not knowing the record business back in the day. But you know, I know what's up with those numbers now.
Dre basically made Ruthless Records. I mean, you know, he did the music, he probably the one who, you know, knew how to work with the artists, and it must have been him and Eazy's company together. And then when Eazy met Jerry, Jerry came in and asked Dre out and say, you know, Ag, I'll give you a little bit more money. We just use Dre basically as a slave.
They had the worst contracts I'd ever seen in the history of the record business. The contracts that Ruthless and Jerry Heller had with N.W.A. and Dre, I guess if I said draconian, that would be a kind word.
Suge told Eazy, if you don't sign these papers, we're gonna beat you to a pulp. You know, it was extortion.
It's time for a switch, you know. Been there, done that.
Dre wanted me to go through his contracts. So I went to talk to Jerry and I said, listen, anything he signs, he entitled to have a copy of it. They kept telling Dre he cannot get his contract.
Check my contracts out, sure enough, wasn't worth the paper they were written on, you know? And
Suge, he was aggressive, and he really seemed like a go-getter to me, you know what I'm saying? And he was making things happen. That's all I really care about, is getting in the studio making music. And if you're gonna help me with that, so be it, let's keep it moving.
Dre called Eazy for a meeting.
Dre wasn't there.
Oh, Dre wasn't there at all?
Nah. Dre set it up though, for Suge though.
Suge broke the chains. His unorthodox way of getting a deal was groundbreaking.
Dre wanted to leave Ruthless Records badly, for the same reasons Ice Cube did, but he was literally chained to the Ruthless brand by Eazy-E. Then Suge stepped in and forced Eazy to release Dre and started Death Row Records with him.
Eric Wright, Eazy-E, filed a RICO lawsuit against them. It was the first time RICO had been used in the music business. RICO is a racketeering lawsuit. It's the thing that they use to get the mafia, and they can't get the mafia leaders on anything else. Eazy-E's lawsuit contended that there was money laundering, extortion, threats, and violent intimidation. Not only was it charged against Suge and Death Row for stealing what was their top producer, Dr. Dre, it was charged against Sony Music. From day one, this label was born amidst the controversy that involved violence.
He terrifies people. Suge Knight starts a label from nothing and delivers 6 consecutive multi-platinum albums. Just absolutely crazy, unprecedented.
The Death Row Records story can literally be 5 or 6 different films.
He was an aggressive person that cleared the way for me to go in and do what I had to do. you know, by any means necessary.
Suge was a leader. He was a winner. He was smart.
Dre got out of his contract with Ruthless and, you know, formed Interscope Records.
Death Row is gonna be the label of the future. Death Row is an artist label where the artist is always right. A situation where we give a home and have open arms to artists.
We had a studio at that time at Solar Records. I went up there and started recording my record, and Suge was taking care of the business in the meantime.
Suge Knight is a fascinating individual, to say the least.
The money I gave came out of my pocket.
Suge Knight did all he could do at the time as far as, you know, go in his pocket, his bank account to get us money. Dre didn't really have no money. He was leaving N.W.A. Back then, Suge was like very behind the scenes and helpful and quiet, humble, non-visible. He didn't like cameras. He was invisible, the invisible man.
His role was to handle the day-to-day business, dealing with the artists, dealing with distributors and record companies and what have you. My job was to go in here and push these buttons and make the records happen.
Deep Cover was a critical success.
It was the introduction of Dre as a solo artist, and of Dre as a mentor to other artists, in this case Snoop Doggy Dogg.
The biggest concept that Suge learned was that ownership of your masters was the most important thing, because if you didn't own your masters, you didn't own yourself.
When you turn around and speak on hip-hop, you can't leave my name out of it. When you think it's turn around and speak about who own the ownership to their masters, I'll probably be the only one going like this.
Interscope Records was the only entity that would give him a deal where they would accept him owning his own masters, but at the same time putting out records, a straight-up distribution deal, which was unprecedented at the time.
Suge Knight and Dr. Dre walked in my office, and what I heard coming through speakers that I really was familiar with was something so extraordinary. I just knew that whoever did that was incredible.
Dr. Dre wanted to make a statement that he was a solo artist, that he was a good artist on his own and a good producer.
That's all Dre used to talk about, is coming up. And the Chronic was what was supposed to set it off.
What I'm doing right now is I'll be putting out a solo album soon.
When Dr. Dre put out The Chronic, it not only changed the sound of West Coast hip-hop, it changed the sound of all hip-hop. Because he was able to kind of tap into this old soul funk gene, he was able to get listeners that might have never listened to hip-hop. First time I knew that The Chronic had a national impact was the winter of 1992. I was in East Orange, New Jersey, which is the home base of Naughty by Nature, who had the height of their popularity. And every passing car was playing a different cut from The Chronic.
It was a big thing at that time. It was like West Coast records would not get played on the East Coast. The East Coast audience does not respect or enjoy things that we're doing out here. So for my record to break through on the East Coast, that meant the world to me.
This Chronic album took hip-hop and the whole concept of the album to another direction.
The first time that an album in the 90s really depicted a point of view, where if you put on the record and you close your eyes, you was with Dr. Dre and a lowrider in LA, and you understood that whole lifestyle.
Hey, Snoop! Star of The Chronic was Snoop. Snoop Doggy Dogg grew up in Long Beach. One of his best friends at the time was really into the music side, Warren Griffin, aka Warren G.
Me and Warren G was always friends from kids. We sold candy together, played football together the whole night.
Warren G's half-brother was Dr. Dre. Every time he'd see Dre, he'd say, yo, you really gotta listen to Snoop.
Warren G used to always try his best to get me to go to the N.W.A. parties. And I used to be real shy. I didn't want to be around them because I felt like they were doing their own thing. But Warren G believed in it so much to where I guess it was like a bachelor party that they had. And the music had went off. And Warren G popped in the tape that we had made, and they heard the record, and he was like, I told y'all, this the homeboy Snoop. The rest is history. We started making magic.
Yeah. He was a little nervous, took a little coaching here and there. Even if you look back at the Nothing But a G Thing video, Snoop was crazy nervous in that. I mean, I don't think there was one take in that video where he stayed focused on the camera, but he's got that star quality, and it just showed.
It's like how LeBron James feel right now. A kid playing with NBA stars and being treated as an NBA star. That's what it was for us. Dr. Dre was already Dr. Dre, and we was nobody. He didn't treat us like we was nobody. He treated us like we were stars.
I knew from the first moment he stepped on the mic, from the first word that came out of his mouth, I knew he was destined to be a superstar.
The Chronic was almost like a Snoop Dogg solo record before Doggy Style came out, and it set the stage for Doggy Style. So when Doggy Style did come out, he had a built-in audience of millions.
I wasn't a good writer, but in a battle, I could beat anybody. It wasn't nobody I couldn't beat because I was so good off the top of the head where Warren G could point at this and point at that, and I'm just tearing your ass up. I use a bit, mama this, but as far as writing, I didn't know how to write. Then once I got with Dr. Dre, he showed me how to turn my 52-bar raps into 16-bar raps.
I mean, no one had ever heard a West Coast lyricist that agile. His vocal rhythms were so different than anything else that was out.
Snoop Dogg had this way of singing that was rhyming that we hadn't heard before. He brought a whole new flavor. And he brought the Southern drawl into hip-hop. It was just a nice Southern inflection.
Everybody was following Dre because people knew that Dre was the man. Like everything that he touched was like, you know, gold or platinum or better.
Everybody was taking direction from Dre as far as he knows what he's doing. He just finished doing N.W.A. albums that's double and triple platinum. So you have to have confidence in what you've seen. You watched this man make money.
Work hard work. I started on a 4-track in a garage in Compton and just build it up from there. That's about it, you know. I just work real hard to get where I am now. Death Row Records gonna be the next Motown, you know what I'm saying? We building up something, you know. The Chronic album was the foundation. Snoop's album is gonna be another brick in the house that Death Row built. You know what I'm saying? And we gonna keep rolling on until the house is finished.
As far as Death Row Records is concerned, no one tells me what to write about, what not to write about. Death Row Records is a family. When I feel that I'm confident about this concept, I let people on the label hear it. If they feel it's strong enough and we all agree, we do it. And sometimes they don't feel comfortable with it and I do, we go along with it. Sometimes when they don't feel comfortable about it and I do, we don't go through with it. It's a family thing, it's off and on, but the main thing is this. When I'm rapping solo, it's my career, so I make my decisions. I can't have no record company telling me, Snoop, rap this way, rap that way, then it wouldn't be real. I rap about what I know and what I feel, and that's just that.
Death Row Records was on top of the world, and Suge Knight ruled with an iron fist. But there was a problem. Suge was turning Death Row into a Blood Mob Piru headquarters, and Dre just wanted to make music, which was getting harder day by day, since he didn't want to be a part of that environment.
Death Row, the name is real. You know, you had to be in that game. The head of our organization was gangster. Otherwise, you got to go. And Dr. Dre's a businessman.
The missing piece of that Death Row empire was Tupac.
Here we go! California! Out on bail, fresh out of jail.
I had so much to say. I figured this would be the best way to really vent it. Then I went straight to the studio. And I did 24 tracks in less than 2 weeks.
You gotta realize one thing. Tupac is Death Row. I feel I have more than just a business relationship with him. He the type can be like a brother, a friend.
I really like everybody on the record company. I like Suge, Snoop, and Dre. I hang out with them anyway, so now it's just official.
This is Tupac and Dr. Dre, and this is the Weekend Rock. Weekend Rock, baby!
I was like, Dre, I want some beats. I want some beats right now. He's like, I'm working on something right now. He played California Live, so Dre, you know you owe me this. I'm new on Death Row, fresh out of jail. You know you ain't gonna be finished your album no time soon.
I love collaborating with creative people that's as talented as Pac. He got right in and like wrote his lyrics while he was behind the mic and dropped it, and it's funky.
Me coming to Death Row, another reason was Snoop.
Please welcome America's Most Wanted, Snoop Doggy Dogg and Tupac.
Death Row's a superpower. Let's combine superpowers and ally.
I love my artists. I mean, I don't consider my people artists. I consider them family.
But Death Row has a reputation for more trouble?
I think Death Row has a bigger reputation for success than anything else.
The reason for all the fear involves the world of this man. At the age of only 30, and with a lengthy criminal record, including 3 felony convictions, Suge Knight has managed to become one of the most powerful and feared men in the American music industry.
Suge Knight got Tupac out of prison and signed him to Death Row, and Pac embraced the Death Row environment which ultimately caused him to lose his life in the end. Dre left Death Row Records in 1996. Tupac got fatally shot the same year. Suge went to prison in 97 and Snoop left in early 1998. And just like that, Death Row Records was seriously crumbling. Dre was smart and left just at the right moment to start fresh for the third time.
Dre was cool with everybody, so for him to be in an environment that was so tense, that is something he gonna roll in. He ain't gonna do that for long.
When I saw an engineer get beat down for rewinding the tape too far, you know, that was like, okay, what are we doing here?
Dre came to me and said, look, this isn't working anymore. The relationship was obviously over. Suge really wanted to end it, and so did Dre.
I said, Jimmy, when you want him, he can go with you, but he just leave with the shirt on his back. I ain't no pimp, but I know about him. I ain't never seen a pimp let a motherfucker hoe leave, and he tell the prostitute, take the jewelry, take your clothes, and don't forget the money. At the end of the day, everybody knows Dre's a hoe.
As far as Dr. Dre goes, been there, done that, through with it.
Now I'm on my new label, the Aftermath. We're gonna have some new, a new album coming out.
I certainly believe that Suge intimidated Dre and made it known that he wanted those masters and that Dre wasn't gonna leave with anything.
That never happened. That's a fucking lie.
I made quite a few mistakes actually, and just picking the people I wanted to do business with, you know. But I consider them positive mistakes because I learned a lot from those mistakes. And like I said in a couple of other interviews, you go through the worst times of your life before you get to the best times. And right now, it's all gravy.
I'm not a part of Death Row no more. I'm on No Limit Records right now, getting ready to be on Doggy Style Records, my own label, and I'm looking towards the future. The past is the past, you know what I'm saying? Y'all got enough footage and enough information and documents to let people know what's happening with that. That's a part of my life that I really, you know, try to forget and try to move past, you know what I'm saying? I'm in a new stage right now, new level of the game, and Death Row was fun while it lasted. It was what it was, but it was more negative than positive, and right now I'm surrounding myself with positivity, so whenever I speak on Death Row, it brings back bad vibes, and I don't really like dwelling on it.
I think people are limited because they're very well influenced by people that's around them or people that's in the media. I don't think like that. I'm only gonna do what I like. And a lot of people have tunnel vision. You read that somebody on the East Coast said about the West Coast and vice versa, and you got major problems. You got a problem with that individual, you know? Square off with him. Don't go dissing a whole fucking coast, you know what I'm saying? Because the public is not stupid. They know what time it is. They know what you're trying to do. You're trying to sell some records. Because if you had beef with a person, you're going to step to that person and say what you got to say. When you can handle it with a simple phone call or simply walking up to the person, getting your shit off your chest. Let's move on, you know, because I'm tired of going in the fucking record shops and the rap section being all the way in the back of the fucking store. The change has to happen somewhere in your generation. For my family, I'm saving money and I want my kids to start on another level. I don't want them to start in the projects. No, they're going to have a foundation, you know, and I'm going to set the foundation straight up. The record business is exactly what it is, record business, and you have to take care of both or they won't take care of you. In this business, 90% of artists don't know when they're supposed to get paid, how they're supposed to get paid, or how much they're supposed to get paid. You know, you can ask a new artist, or even some artist that's been in the business a while, how much is a point worth, or what a point is, and they can't answer the question. They don't know. But they could tell you how much a Mercedes costs. Hip-hop music is just an extension of what's going on in every ghetto. That's all it is to it, and not just in the ghetto. Rich people had their problems too.
After leaving his Death Row days behind him, Dre could finally focus, and he struck gold in 1998 when he signed Eminem.
I didn't have an artist to work with. I would go to Jimmy's house and have listening sessions. He was trying to help me figure out where I was gonna go with my music, and he would take me down to his garage. There was cassette tapes everywhere. And I remember him picking up this cassette tape. He pops this in, and I was like, what the fuck And who the fuck is that? Rewind that. Play that again.
Great can come from anywhere.
Okay, so fast forward to, holy shit, I'm in the Interscope office. Holy shit, this is Jimmy Iovine. Holy shit, Dr. Dre just walked in. Holy shit, I just shit myself. I'm pissing myself now thinking about it.
Eminem comes in this bright yellow fucking sweatsuit.
I'm looking at Dre like, dude, I see you on TV all the time.
I'm like, man, listen, I think this shit is fucking incredible and I would love to work with you. And I had a studio in my house at the time and I went and put some samples together, did a couple of things in the drum machine, and I invited him over. I was like, man, listen, I put this sample together, tell me if you like it. 2 or 3 seconds went by. Hi, my name is... Stop. That's what happened our first day and the first few minutes of us being in the studio. My gut told me Eminem was the artist that I'm supposed to be working with right now. But I didn't know how many racists I had around me.
And everyone was telling him, don't fuck with him.
Everybody around me, the so-called execs and what have you, were all against it. The records that I had done at the time, they didn't work. They wanted me out the building. And then I come up with Eminem, this white boy.
Me, Slim Shady.
My general manager had this 8x10 picture and was like, Dre, this boy's got blue eyes. What are we doing?
I had just got evicted from my house with nowhere really to live.
The timing of this was so fucking crazy. Both of us were in really bad situations, and not only did we click with the music, we became friends. It's just like, okay, fuck it, I'm throwing the dice. I'm betting all the marbles on Eminem.
I knew he was taking a risk, but I just didn't know how much internal shit he was fighting. You know, I owe him my life for that. No bullshit. Like, I know you risked it all for me.
And the winner is Eminem, my name is.
I want to thank Dr. Dre, everybody at Interscope Records for making this possible.
Eminem went on to become the best-selling rapper of all time and one of the greatest to ever touch the mic. Following the worldwide success with Eminem, Dr. Dre had another plan. Old school heavyweight lyrical king and the master of flow, Rakim signed with Aftermath in 2000. The two began working on an album, but it was never officially released. Their professional relationship was short-lived, with Rakim leaving Aftermath by 2003 due to creative differences.
Example is, say if Dre say, yo, Rock, I want you to talk about killing somebody on this one, and I say, yo, nah, I wanted to talk about bringing somebody to life on this one. You know what I mean? You know, Dre got a formula, man. Dre been doing what he been doing for years, and you know, if it's not broke, don't fix it. And it just so happened that, you know, what I do is a little different from what Dre do, man. So, you know, creative differences. He make his kind of music and I like to make my kind. And, you know, we ain't understand how different we was until we got in the studio and started working together. But, you know what I mean? It didn't work out, but hopefully in the future we can hook up, do a, you know, little joint together or something. And take it from there. Word up.
3 years later, it was time for the 50 Cent Storm, where Dre and Eminem played big roles in 50's now classic album, Get Rich or Die Trying in 2003. The album sold over 13 million copies worldwide, which was followed by the Games documentary album, where now 50 Cent and Dre had a massive input on the album. Years later, Dre sold Beats Electronics to Apple in May 2014 for $3 billion, and was instantly called hip-hop's first billionaire by the media, and even Dre himself said so. But that wasn't quite true, as Dre's stake in Beats was roughly 20 to 25% at the time of sale. After taxes and other fees, his take-home was closer to $400 million. Forbes confirmed in 2014 that Dre's net worth jumped to about $800 million, but not quite a full billion. Even if not the first billionaire, Dre arguably created more millionaires than anyone in hip-hop through his work with artists like Eminem, 50 Cent, Kendrick Lamar, and Game, where he played a massive role in their careers. Dre's influence and legacy is untouchable. His resume includes collaborations with the biggest names in hip-hop history, while being the greatest producer of all time.